Welcome. My name is Greg Hogan with the OSHA Environmental Health and Safety Department. Today we'll be discussing hearing conservation. Some of the objectives we'll be covering today includes the OSHA standard. We'll also talk about what noise is, control measures, audiometric testing, and also hearing protection. According to OSHA, approximately 22 million workers are exposed to hazardous noise a year. In 2019, from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, reported 14,500 work-related hearing losses. OSHA side of it, 29 CFR 1910.95, that's the general industry standard, and also 1926.52, that is the construction standard as far as occupational noise exposure. Applies to all employees whose noise exposure is equal to or exceeds an 8-hour, what they call a TWA or time-weighted average of 85 decibels. The employers are required to measure noise levels, provide free annual audiometric examinations, provide hearing protection, provide annual training, ensure hearing protection is adequate, require employees also to wear assigned hearing protection. This is both an employer and employee responsibility. The employer shall administer a hearing conservation program whenever employee noise exposure equal or exceed the action level of 85 decibels, 8-hour time weighted average. Employees also know noise exposure should not exceed the permissible exposure limit, or the PEL, of 90 decibels for an 8-hour time weighted average. Engineering administrative controls shall be utilized when employees are exposed to hazardous levels of noise. When such controls are not feasible or do not provide sufficient protection, hearing protection must be provided and used. Hearing conservation program general requirements. These are just the four basic requirements. Number one is noise monitoring. The second one you'll see up there on the screen is what they call employee training, implementations of noise controls, and audiometric testing program. Noise monitoring, area noise monitoring is conducted using a sound level meter to evaluate area noise levels, identify noise sources, and also estimate employee exposures. Personal monitoring is conducted using a noise dosimeter. Basically, an employee wears for a duration of their shift. The noise dosimeter records data and also calculates the personal noise dose for the sampling period. Data from the noise dosimeter is compared to the OSHA action level and also the permissible exposure limit, or the PEL. Training shall be provided whenever employees' noise exposures equal or exceed an 8-hour time-weighted average sound level of 85 decibels. Employee training must be repeated on an annual basis. Employee training must cover the effects of noise on hearing selection, proper use of hearing protection, and audiometric testing procedures. An audiometric testing program shall be provided whenever employee noise exposure equal or exceed 8-hour time-weighted average sound level of 85 decibels within 6 months of an employee's first exposure at or above the action level. The employer shall establish a valid baseline audiogram against which subsequent audiograms can be prepared. Employees must receive an audiogram on an annual basis. The program is provided to the employee at no cost. What is noise? Noise and vibration are both fluctuations in the pressure of air or other media which affect the human body. Vibrations that are detected by the human ear are classified as sound. When we use the term noise to indicate unwanted noise, noise and vibration can harm workers when they occur at higher levels or continue for a long time. Let's go to the next one real quickly here. Noise hazards. Permanent hearing loss basically occur when the ear exposed to 85 decibels average over an 8-hour work shift. Any exposure to the ear at 140 decibels can cause hearing loss. Noise that causes pain in the ear is an indication that the noise level is too high. If workers standing on a few feet apart have to shout to raise their voices to be heard, it is an indication that noise levels are above 85 decibels. We show you a scale here as far as different sounds, as far as different type of items is concerned. At 140 decibel, what's called the threshold pain. A good example of that would be your commercial fireworks. As you start to go down as far as decibel level is concerned, you get all the way down to about 0. Once again, there is no noise at that particular level. But then let's go, say, move to 10, 20, or even 30. That's a sample of, for 10 decibels, breathing. Whispers 20. Rustles of leaves, looks like it comes in there at about a 30 decibel. When you get to 40 decibels, maybe rain. 50 decibels, as you can kind of see, maybe a refrigerator. 60 decibels, once again, is moderate to quiet conversation. And of course, you get to 70 decibels, it's going to be fairly loud. Example of that would be a car. Very loud, once again, is going to be 80 decibels, and of course, it could be a truck. As you start going up the scale a little bit more, you see hairdryers at 90, helicopters at 100 decibels. Here's one that's really surprising: is trombone is 110 decibels, and of course you get a siren, which is 120 decibels. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea as far as the decibel scale of some of the things that you may be around as far as decibel reading is concerned. Effects of noise, once again, can cause hearing loss. Amount of damage depends upon the intensity of the noise and duration of the exposure. Noise-induced hearing loss can be temporary or it could be permanent. The effects of noise can also be prolonged exposure, generally causes permanent damage. Noise-induced permanent threshold shift is not reversible, and once again, it cannot be medically treated. The effects of noise. Noise-induced hearing loss typically starts with high threshold shifts in the higher frequencies. The type of hearing loss can be identified and measured with what they call an audiometric examination. Noise is an unwanted, unpleasant sound that may basically have a negative effect depending on the loudness and frequency, the duration of the exposure, and the age and the health of the individual. What exactly is sound? Sound is measured by frequency and also intensity. Noise types include the wideband, the narrowband, and the impulse as far as the different types of noise is concerned. The noise hazards. Hearing protection must be provided when noise equals or exceeds an 8-hour time-weighted average of 85 decibels. Noise hazards can also be caused from drowsiness, irritability, inability to hear important instructions. It can also lead to high blood pressure, ulcers, and even headaches. Other disorders, once again, may be as simple as sleeping disorders. Temporary, even permanent hearing loss can all be associated with noise hazards. Now let's go to the next part here. We'll talk just a little bit about controls. How exactly do you control the noise itself in one particular area? These are what they call engineering controls. So the preferred means of controlling noise exposures. Engineering controls can greatly reduce or eliminate the hazard. Noise engineering controls can also include equipment substitution and also the use of sound insulating and sound absorption materials. That's all engineering controls. Now let's go to administrative controls. As a form of work practice, basically can influence the way a task is performed. Worker rotation is an example of administrative control, which involves rotating employees into and out of the high noise area task in the course of a shift, therefore reducing the full shift exposure to any given employee. The personal protective equipment is used when engineering and also administrative controls are not feasible and or do not provide sufficient protection. PPE for noise can include ear plugs and also ear muffs. These are all examples of personal protective equipment or PPE. As far as noise control measures is concerned, isolate noisy machinery is a separate area. Place machinery on rubber mountings. Use sound-absorbing acoustical tiles. Other ways as far as controls are concerned, arrange work schedules to reduce employee exposure to noise. Inform supervisors of unpleasant, unacceptable noise levels. Limiting the amount of time a person spends at a noisy source. Provide quiet areas where workers can gain relief from hazardous noise sources. Purpose and procedure for audiometric testing. Check of person's hearing. Trained technicians use the audiometer to send sounds through headphones. Person being tested responds to the sounds when they are first heard. Chart records responses, compares to previous results. Selection of hearing protection devices. Factors when selecting hearing protection devices include what they call noise reduction rating, or NRR. You also have what they call noise levels and frequencies. You also have fit and comfort, the type of work being performed. We also have 3 different types of hearing protection devices that are out there. First was ear muffs. Second one is foam insert earplugs. The third one's what they call semi-aural earplugs. Let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each of the following that we did list as far as types of hearing protection. Let's start off first with the ear muffs. The advantage is they do have a higher protection at higher frequencies than earplugs do. Various NRR ratings are available. They're very durable, they're very long-lasting, they can be fitted onto a hard hat, and once again, they are what? They are reusable. Let's talk about the disadvantages. Higher cost. Eyeglasses can interfere with earmuff seals, may be uncomfortable in what they call hot environments. They must be cleaned before use by another worker. Those are all examples of ear muffs. Let's talk about foam insert earplugs. Let's talk about the advantage first. So more protection at lower frequencies than muffs have. The various NRR rates, noise reduction ratings, are available. They're fairly inexpensive. They are disposable. They can also be custom molded for an individual's worker. And the other thing too is they do have reusable plugs are available. The disadvantages is the hands must be cleaned before inserting the earplugs into the ear. And the second thing is improper insertion reduces noise reduction rating value. That is all with the foam insert earplugs. Let's go to the next one, which is what they call the semi-aural caps. The advantages is they do have them for various noise reduction ratings. They're easy to insert. They may be used several times. Ideal for people going in and out of noisy areas. The disadvantages, though, once again, is improper insertion reduces the effectiveness. They're more expensive than regular earplugs. Typically have a lower noise reduction ratings than plugs or even muffs do. Let's talk about the fit and the care of the hearing protection devices. Employers must ensure a proper initial fitting. Employer must supervise the correct use of hearing protectors. Hearing protectors must be replaced as necessary at no cost to the employee. Hearing protection devices must be cleaned and stored according to the manufacturer's specifications. Let's talk about how to put the earplugs into the ear. First thing is, at the very beginning, let's talk about you roll them up as small as you possibly can and make them to a very thin cylinder. In the little diagram we have here, right here on the screen, the gentleman puts them in his 2 fingers with his thumb, rolls them up, it's like you see in picture number 2, and then number 3, they make them as small as they possibly can. The next step is to raise up on top of the ear itself, and you're going to gently insert the earplug directly into the ear canal and hold it there for a while. It begins to expand. When you're in this process right here, hold just a little bit of pressure on the earplug itself As it starts to unravel, it actually starts to insert and seat correctly inside of the ear canal area itself. One thing that a lot of people make the mistake of, they say, well, these earplugs keep popping out. Why is this happening to me? Well, what they do not realize is with earplugs, you roll them up as small as you possibly can. You insert them directly into the ear canal area itself. Put just a little bit of pressure. Let them unravel themselves. Still keep the pressure on there. And once again, it has a way of actually seating directly into the ear canal area. A lot of people just roll the earplugs up, stick them in the ear, and they call it good. They're out there doing any type of work. They start to talk. They start to carry on a conversation. And next thing you know, these earplugs kind of start working their ways out of the ear itself. What happened was they incorrectly inserted the earplug directly into the ear. Hearing protection makes common sense. You're ultimately responsible for your own hearing. You have the most to lose if you suffer hearing loss. Make sure earplugs fit properly. Have an annual hearing test. Keep hearing protection devices in good operation. Do not use homemade hearing protection devices. Wear hearing protection devices at work as required. That also includes at the home that you live in. Any type of activities you do around the house, I would highly encourage every one of you all to wear hearing protectors. If you're working around anything that has an 85 decibel or higher noise rating to it. I got some facts and questions that we did put in here. So why does hearing protectors keep falling out of the ear? This one's real simple. They are not correctly positioned and inserted directly into the ear canal area correctly. Can a person wearing hearing protection earmuffs with safety glasses? And the answer to that is no, not with earmuffs. Because when you put a pair of safety glasses on and you put an earmuffs on, what happens is at the very top of the ear, where the glasses and then where the hearing protector, the earmuffs come over, it breaks that little seal. And essentially what happens is you get a whistling sound coming directly through there. And that's what you're trying to avoid. Do not use cotton balls to protect your hearing while working with loud noises. If you have any hearing protection concerns at OSU, to whom do you contact? Contact your supervisor. You can also contact Environmental Health and Safety here at Stillwater, Oklahoma. We list the number down here towards the very bottom in case you'd like to get in contact with us. The phone number is 405-744-7241, or you can email us at ehs@okstate.edu. You can also reference back to our website, which is ehs.okstate.edu, for further hearing conservation information and how it applies to your work area. I do thank everybody for listening in today. Just remember this. If you see a sign that says caution, hearing protection required, make sure that you have the correct hearing protection that's required for the particular area that you're going to be working in. Thank you, and have a good day.